Hello guys, and welcome to what is just only my second video of the year, and this one will feature actually a new camera. Well, I say it's a new camera, it's actually a second-hand camera. So instead this time what I've got is a bridge camera, and the camera that I got, as you can see, is a Canon one. This is actually quite an old model. Yeah, it's not by any stretch of the imagination a new camera. It's, I don't know if you can see it, I'll turn on its side, it's the SX60 HS. Yeah, this camera's essentially got an ultra zoom lens built into it, so yeah, and it covers a pretty big focal length. Yeah, so this camera's actually got a pretty small sensor in it. It's kind of, I'm not 100% certain the actual size of the sensor. I think it's the ones that you get in the kind of compact cameras that you can buy on the market. So yeah, it's a pretty small sensor. There are more expensive bridge cameras that do have what's called a 1-inch sensor in them, and well, obviously they can produce better image quality, I think, because obviously the sensor size is just that bit bigger, and yeah, so that way it'll probably be able to produce higher quality images. Yeah, that's something I've actually just looked up. I was keen to look at the focal length range of this camera, and it's actually, yeah, it's a 65 times optical zoom. It's got a whopping range between 21mm and 1365mm. So yeah, that covers quite a range, yeah, which is very impressive. I can also show you with it switched on. You can see with the lens barrel, that's the lens barrel now kind of protruded out a bit. So, and if it actually, that's the range it goes out to. So that's so yeah, that's it with the focus barrel fully maxed out. But that's it. That's what the barrel looks like fully extended. No, the real reason why they call them, I think, bridge cameras is because it kind of bridges the gap between a DSLR camera and just like a kind of standard small compact camera. As for the camera itself, it is actually really nice. It's quite a small, fairly compact bridge camera. It's actually akin to the size of like a small DSLR, so just turn it around. I can show you the back of it. It's also got, which is actually quite appealing, it's actually got a articulating screen, so if I flip that out, you can actually see there. Yeah, so that's the screen now rotated out, and it's obviously it's really handy having the screen that can kind of rotate and flip to the side. Good also if you want to do some vlogging, if you're kind of into that kind of stuff. So I've now got the camera switched on, facing kind of like the back, and you can actually see the kind of screen a bit more clearly now. Again, it's just against a white background, and you're not going to see a great deal of detail in the shots here, but yeah, it does give you an idea of the kind of screen and the menu. So if I hit the menu button, it gives you up quite a few options. There's not a super large amount of options to actually access in the menu here, but there's still quite a few. And obviously you need to use the buttons to go down, because it's not a touch screen, unfortunately. So there's different settings with the zoom, your focus, autofocus, you know, zoom point, flash control, auto ISO settings, center, safety shift, all these kind of things, sound recording. Yeah, there's the image stabilization settings. If there's one thing that does kind of concern me about the camera, is it doesn't seem to have any image stabilization for images, for taking pictures. It seems to be kind of primarily more for video. So yeah, I was a bit concerned about the lack of that, which is a bit disappointing. So there's quite a few settings for other standard stuff: volume, mute, hint tips, set the time, eco mode, brightness, formatting the memory card. So yeah, kind of a lot of standard stuff. Another thing this camera's got is, obviously it's got a pop-up flash, which obviously you can use to take pictures in low light situations. So obviously a pop-up flash is quite useful for that. And it just kind of literally pops up. I think that's it there. I might have taken one picture of it using the flash, but again, I very rarely, if ever, use flash photography. So, but anyway, that's the flash, and you can just pop it back down. So another thing I can do, of course, is show you the top of the camera, which I've not done yet, and again, it resembles very closely a kind of DSLR style body. So, and also it's rather typical for a Canon body, because you get the individual stylized markings that you would get with Canon cameras. It's not like the PASM dial or the PASM dial as it's known for program, aperture, shutter speed and manual. Of course, when it comes to Canon, you get their own individual take on that, the PASM dials. So you've got P, which is program mode. You get TV, which I think is shutter speed mode. And then you get AV, which is the aperture priority mode. And then you just get the M mode, which is just manual. And of course, there's a hot shoe, which you can use for mounting a flash, or you can install, say, a portable microphone on it. And because obviously, as I said, there's the microphone slot there. And of course, there's also a dial here which you can use to rotate. I think that controls like the aperture and shutter speed as well. There's also an exposure button for the plus and minus, which obviously, as I said, you can use that dial to kind of adjust the brightness in your exposure with the plus and minus button. I know you can't quite see it properly. This is of course the shut button, and this little lever, of course, which flicks between the different zoom ranges from like telephoto back to kind of wide angle. Another thing I can show you obviously is the kind of battery door compartment and the underside of the camera. That's a battery compartment door, and there's the tripod mount hole, which you would obviously use to stick the camera on the tripod. So yeah, as I said, here's the battery compartment door, so you just slide that open. There's houses the battery underside. That's where the memory card can go, just underneath the battery itself. I think the battery offers a decent amount of charge. I'm not sure how many shots it takes, probably between 300 and 400. I've actually not used the camera to that great an extent where I've actually ran the battery dry at any point. So yeah, I've only shot with it on a 2 or 3 days, kind of off and on, and not for a great deal of time. And of course, the big question, which I haven't even answered yet, is just how good is the image quality from this camera. And I have to really say that I'm very impressed with the image quality of this camera, for its size and also the zoom range that it covers. And you also get the choice between shooting in RAW and JPEG, and also shooting RAW and JPEG combined. So yeah, you've got that flexibility of keeping the JPEGs, or just entirely shooting in RAW. I personally shoot with the JPEG and the RAW option, and I usually always edit the RAW files whenever I'm editing photos. Yeah, I was quite impressed with the detail of the images, and also the surprising lack of noise in the images as well was quite impressive. Yeah, I was taking quite a few images around about ISO 200, 250. I also shot some images around about ISO 160 and ISO 100 maybe. I have to say, yeah, very impressed with the results of this camera. And here I'll show you a selection of images that I've taken with this camera at different focal lengths, just to show you what the images are like. So overall, I'm very impressed with this camera. For the money which I paid, I think just under £300 for it, because I think brand new it was £449. Very happy with it. Very handy also having a camera that has got just a kind of all-in-one lens. You don't have to swap out lenses, so that's definitely quite appealing for me. I do enjoy using interchangeable lenses, but there are times where it's really handy just to have the one, kind of lens situation where you don't have to change anything. So yeah, having a bridge camera is just perfect for that. However, I would have to say that this camera isn't perfect, and there are still some drawbacks with it. There are some pros and cons for sure, and I've discussed many of the pros. But as for the kind of drawbacks, the cons, well, I think for me, probably one of the biggest problems with this camera is the lack of a touchscreen. Because yeah, I found that the lack of a touchscreen was a bit disappointing, because you have to actually press the buttons on the back, and sometimes I feel like I really have to press the button in to get to the next image. I'm flicking through the images, so the lack of a touchscreen is a bit disappointing. Would also make going through the menu options that bit more user friendly. Obviously another gripe would be to purely do with the sensor size, because obviously you're not going to get the best quality of this camera in low light. You would have to definitely use it on a tripod. I also noticed that the quality of the video, took a little sample of the video indoors, it also did highlight the problem with low light quality. Yeah, so it does again show that the sensor does have its drawbacks in terms of its small size. Those gripes aside, I still am very impressed with this camera. So that's it for this video, guys. Again, something a bit different, just experimenting with different things in these videos. Been trying to do that the last few videos, trying out different things, rather than just kind of like the usual kind of photography compilations and travelling places. And as I said, I'm very pleased with this camera. And if you fancy trying out a bridge camera, this is certainly one I would recommend that you pick up if you can get a good deal on one on eBay somewhere. So that's it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, because there's plenty more videos and content on there to have a look at. So until the next one, this is Kenny saying bye for now, and I'll see you soon.